comics, and I talk about all things comics week to week.
I edit for NerdSync. I also have my own channel, but I'm just running a computer, so don't mind me.
What's your name?
My name's Dylan. I also go by Arm on the internet, so.
So basically, this panel is about canceled comic book video games. So they were gonna get made, but they didn't get made. Yep. So I guess the first one, I guess I'll kick it off with there was gonna be an Avengers game in 2012, which you got some video footage here. Yeah, you want
a video now?
Yeah, we got video.
Wait.
We're using the video now.
So basically, after the first Avengers movie, they were going to do a game. It was called the first-person Ranger game because, well, you'll see, it's pretty much like a shooter game, but not at all. That's like some of the concept art.
Yeah, because I believe that at this point in time, they were like trying to come up with a third-person Avengers game, but they realized, we do so many third-person superhero games, we need to shake it up, so they wanted to do a first-person Avengers game, so you could actually be Iron Man and Thor and Hulk and Captain America as well.
Yeah, so like the main four characters of the game was going to be Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk. But there was going to be unlockable characters like Hawkeye, Black Widow, and then if I guess the game did well, they would expand into like all of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like eventually it would be pretty cool. That's the concept art.
It was loosely based off of Secret Invasion, right? With Skrulls.
Yeah, it was weird because like looking it up, like apparently it was supposed to tie into the Avengers movie, but not. So it wasn't like in that continuity, but basically to not confuse people, they wanted to like spin into it where it's like this is kind of in that world, but not.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like how the Spider-Man games, I guess, did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Spider-Man 2 had the Doc Ock storyline, but then also Mysterio and
Right. But they would have been able to get like pretty like deep into like their whole like with the Avengers roster.
Yeah.
They could have done like.
What would be like if you could pick one player, one character to be like to play as first person? Who would you want to do with that? Doctor Strange.
Oh, Doctor Strange. What about you, Andre?
Black Panther. Just I just want the claws to come out. The whole time to be yelling. I'm just really surprised that this, like, that's just like, well, first of all, I'm surprised that we don't have a strong Avengers title, period.
It's really shocking.
You know, to see how Batman did with Arkham and even like the Transformer games, all these other games, like it's kind of odd that there's not this really, I mean, we've got the Lego ones, but it's like, to see something like that would be really amazing. I think people would be into it. But yeah, every time we get Avengers, it's Lego, Disney Infinity, and all that stuff.
I think the closest thing we got to this was like Ultimate Alliance, right?
Yeah.
But that's one out of like X-Men Legend games.
Yeah, because X-Men or Ultimate Alliance was actually the game they were looking at and going, we don't want to do another one of these third-person games. So, yeah.
But again, it's really just like, you know, with the popularity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's like kind of like, how?
Yeah.
How is that not a thing already? That's like an obvious step, really.
Meanwhile, I feel like Blizzard saw that footage and was like, what if we just did that with our own characters? A watch of some kind that we can watch over. Wait a second. Because it almost feels like the same stuff. You know, I'm sure like you got Iron Man doing this, and you got the Hulk, I'm sure, smashing.
But it seems like, as we talk about more games that got canceled, it's like, this one, it seems like the common denominator is that the companies that pitched it or that were going to create it went out of business. Like, okay.
That might be the problem.
Yeah, this one was created by THQ.
Disney Marvel does have sort of a curse of, once you kind of want to make a game from them, that company just doesn't stick around. Like, Disney Infinity was so huge, and the moment they're like, let's add Marvel figures. So yeah, it's true.
So that's the Avengers game. There's really not much more to say about it just because it didn't happen.
Yeah. Would you want to play an Avengers game?
Yes!
Yeah. It's just interesting that it's first person. Third person I can totally see someone putting it. But literally having like giant Hulk hands right here and no body, that's pretty.
First person ranged brawler was what the creator quoted. Nice. It was going to be.
You just make a kart racer. That's all you need. Avengers kart. That's all you need. Yeah, that's all. That's everyone knows. That's the formula.
That's right. You got the Spider-Mobile.
Yeah.
Well, we were at Toys R Us the other day. What is we saw Superman has a car. I know that's DC. But what's up with like giving superheroes like all these random like? Iron Man's got a car. Superman's got a car.
Toys. You know?
There's a Sonic the Hedgehog racing game, and he's in a car, and you're like, you're Sonic the Hedgehog. Why are you driving a car? Come on, man. Now you just profile. Like, see, that's why you ain't got no money anymore, Sonic. Because you're just own a car. I'm gonna keep making games forever. All right, Sonic. Keep making those comics, brother.
All right, let's move along. Scott, what's you got?
Oh boy, I have a fun story to tell all you guys. This is the story of a Daredevil video game. Yeah, any Daredevil fans in here? That Netflix show.
I was in what era of Daredevil?
Yeah, so this would have been early 2000s.
So Affleck Daredevil?
Before Affleck.
Oh,
yes.
Has anyone seen the meme of sad Batman staring into the mirror and it's the Ben Affleck Daredevil? It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's funny. Oh boy.
Continue.
Yes. So I could honestly go on about this game forever because it's so fascinating to me. So basically, this was going to be this was back in the day when superhero movies were just getting started. We had Spider-Man, we had X-Men. That was probably about. We had some other stuff in the 90s, but that was they were just getting off the ground. And so with that, a lot of superhero video games started to become popular. And with that would have been this Daredevil game. It was supposed to be really, really small in scope. Like it was just supposed to be kind of like a couple vignettes of celebrating the character of Daredevil. But after they built the prototype, they got really excited about it. They showed it to Marvel, and Marvel got really excited about it. And they were like, yes, we have to make this game the biggest, best game we have ever made. And with that, they also laid down the condition that as Marvel, they would have full creative control over everything in the game.
Who was the developer?
The developer was 5,000 Feet, Inc., I believe.
Probably another company that went out of business.
The curse continues.
Yeah.
I wanted to make poker games, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's quite a shift.
Yeah. So basically, they tried to expand the scope of it. But at this time because this was before Affleck Daredevil. So at this time, while they were developing the game, they caught wind that, oh hey, there's going to be this Daredevil movie. So what we need to do is put as much money into this game and as much resources into this game as possible because it's going to come back and make us tons of money whenever this movie comes out. Yeah, it didn't work out so well.
But that director's cut though.
So they decided to expand it from a linear gameplay to an open world Hell's Kitchen, where you can play around as Daredevil and swing around. We'll get to the travel mechanics in a bit, because that's an interesting story behind it. But then, I believe at this time, and I'm not a video game person, so all of you guys out there correct me if I'm wrong, I believe at this time, there was like a rule for third-party developers where if you were supposed to submit it to PlayStation or Xbox, they had to get final approval over it. And Microsoft's whole thing was, look, we don't care what you're doing, just make the game, whatever. Sony, on the other hand, got really into this project, and basically wanted to also have full creative control over it, along with Marvel, and so the two are going to butt heads a lot. As we will see with the game mechanics, because one of the things that Sony wanted to do with Daredevil is make him grind on things.
Like Tony Hawk Pro Skater?
Okay. No, I was thinking a completely different thing. I was like, cool.
No, this was the era when Tony Hawk Pro Skater was really popular.
One of my favorite games.
Yeah, and they decided, well, you know what? Let's make Daredevil grind on things. Because why not, right?
Because he did it all the time.
Oh, of course.
All the time.
And that's a perfect example of Marvel.
You can grind.
Yeah. What? That's not the right way to say it. That's a perfect example of Marvel wanting something that's true to the character, and Sony instead wanting something that's just a little bit more fun. And the two didn't really work together all that great. But you could also, as you can see, swing from rooftop to rooftop with the Billy Club that he has, which was actually quite a feat because at this time, there was only the first Spider-Man game. You remember that one where when you're swinging through, you just shoot at the clouds, you wouldn't actually find anything? So they created the system where Billy Club would actually latch onto structures, and it was pretty impressive. And they also had, of course, his radar sense, which allowed, it was basically Arkham-like detective mode, was his radar sense, which was pretty cool. And there would also be like crimes randomly generated through the Spider-Man 2 game, where you would like save someone's balloon from flying into the sky or whatever. Like,
Save someone's balloon?
Did you play Spider-Man 2?
No.
No?
I think it was the first one.
Dylan's currently playing through it again.
There's some missions where a little girl would just go, my balloon! And then you have to go find a balloon and give it to them. And you get points for it. And then you can go down backflips.
Okay. That works.
Yeah. Anyway, I could talk about the plot of this game if anyone's interested.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Wait,
So,
before you go and get into it,
Yeah.
does Tony Hawk make a cameo?
he doesn't. But
Okay. All right.
no. Okay. So the plot basically starts with Kingpin has been assassinated. Classic.
Wow.
Yeah. Starts off.
Who's Daredevil's biggest rival? Kill him. Perfect. Great start.
Now what are we gonna do?
We're gonna Tarantino. We'll see how that happens.
So Elektra is actually being blamed for the death of Kingpin, but she's innocent, so Daredevil wants to go and kind of vindicate her. Also, meanwhile, Foggy is kidnapped somehow. There's not a whole lot of information about that, so I don't know who kidnapped him or where he ended up being found, but that's also a part of the story. And also at this time with Kingpin dead, there's a power vacuum, so all of the crime bosses in Hell's Kitchen are trying to snatch up and try to be the one true Kingpin after him. So there's a ton of crime in the streets, which is where the randomly generated crime gameplay kind of comes from. You fight against characters like the Hand, obviously. There's Bullseye and Elektra fight, and I think you actually play as Elektra. So it's
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I think you're basically getting revenge on Bullseye. And yeah, the twist, spoiler alert.
For a game that's never gonna happen.
Kingpin is actually revealed to be alive the whole time, and he orchestrated this whole thing just to put the other crime bosses against each other.
That was the twist, Andre.
To say no.
They knew what they were doing.
Alright. You got me.
Yeah, so that would have been the game. Pretty interesting, I think. What happened was, what went wrong basically was that it was a lot of technical issues with the engine that they were doing. The publisher Encore didn't really want to pay for to use someone else's engine, so they were building their own. But it didn't really work out, and they had to cut back on the scale. It went from this open world Hell's Kitchen to being, a much more linear gameplay, which kind of cut back on why would you need a radar sense? Why would you need to fly around the streets if everything's super linear? So it just, yeah. At the end of the day, what ended up happening was 5,000 feet, people were making the game, tried really, really hard to please Sony more than Marvel, and Marvel had final creative say, and they pulled their license, and the game just never got made. Such a shame. I would have liked to play as Daredevil soaking around the streets of Hell's Kitchen.
That would have been cool. Do you know if Spider-Man was gonna be in it? That's a pretty...
I don't know. I don't think Spider-Man was going to be in it, but Punisher and, Black Widow were both going to make cameos.
Black Widow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they had a relationship with the comics, So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We should definitely try to look at doing something with Daredevil now.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely.
Like an Arkham type thing, or even a Telltale type thing. Just
Oh,
something
yeah.
to continue that going.
Has anyone played the new Telltale Batman game?
Yes.
I want to.
That's the best answer ever.
I want to.
Well, finish your homework and then you can.
So that's pretty cool. So let's jump to the DC universe. So
Yeah.
there was also going to be, has anyone ever read Gotham by Gaslight?
Woo!
One of the best Elseworld Batman stories. Known as pretty the first, Elseworld Batman story. So pretty much, for people who are not familiar with it, it's Batman in the Victorian era, 1889 to be exact, and he's fighting Jack the Ripper. So
Steampunk Batman.
Steampunk Batman, exactly.
That sounds awesome.
And it's also the latest scene from Batman v Superman.
So it was supposed to be basically kind of like more of a detective type game, like the Arkham series, pretty much. towards the end, actually, one of the reasons it said it kind of didn't happen, like if this game happened, we probably wouldn't have had the Arkham series. So I mean, I guess that's a pretty good trade-off, although this still